Hi kids, it's Mr. Hajdukovic here. Today we're going to be doing the Find the Evidence Veterans Day. Just like anything else we do, if you're at home right now, you take your packet out of your binder as neatly as you can because we have to get it to last for a few weeks. And then the first thing you do should always be to put your name at the top of your paper. Once I finish that, then I can move on. But even if it's something in a packet, please just put your name at the top. And if you remember, this is not mandatory, but please put the date on there too. That will help me just remember when we did specific things. So tomorrow is Veterans Day, and it just happens so that we're going to be reading this particular passage today. So to start off with, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and you can follow along with me on your paper as I read this to you, but I want to make sure we understand all the words and can say things correctly. Veterans Day. A veteran is a person who has served in the military. A veteran might have served in any military branch, including the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or National Guard. Veterans help keep our country safe and protect our freedoms. Veterans Day is a national holiday in the United States, celebrated each year on November 11th. We celebrate it on that day because World War I ended on November 11th, 1918. The next year, President Woodrow Wilson declared November 11th a holiday to thank the veterans who helped us win World War I. He called it Armistice Day. In 1954, President Eisenhower decided that the day should honor all of our veterans, not just those from World War I, and changed the name to Veterans Day. Many times, veterans give up time with their family, friends, and other loved ones to go where the military needs them for months or even years. Sometimes they must go into danger, and some veterans are hurt or even lose their lives while serving their country. It is important to say thank you to our veterans, especially on Veterans Day. Now that we're finished reading it, the first thing I'm going to have you do is number the paragraphs. That will help us find our answers later. So just remember, a paragraph has this little indent, and this entire piece that goes here is the paragraph. And it doesn't go all the way to the end always. It stops kind of right here, and then a new paragraph starts with another indent. And an indent is just another way to say a space. So this would be paragraph 1, this would be paragraph 2, and this would be paragraph 3. So as we talk about this, we'll kind of direct you to different paragraphs. The next thing I'm going to go do is I'm going to look down a little bit, and I'm going to read my questions. It's always going to be who, what, where, why, how, and when. Those are the different pieces you're looking for. So the first question, highlighted in blue, says, who renamed the holiday? So what I want to do is go back into my paragraph. And if I can remember where it is, that's helpful, but I might just have to start at the beginning and skim. So I just kind of skim through it. A veteran person, military, veteran might have served in a military branch. This one doesn't talk about anything to do with who renamed the holiday, this paragraph. So I go down to the next one. Veterans Day is a national holiday in the United States. Oh, that talks about the holiday, so maybe it's in here. We celebrated on that day because World War I ended on November 11th, 1918. The next year, President Woodrow Wilson declared November 11th a holiday to thank the veterans who helped us win World War I. So that tells me how the holiday got its name, and then it tells me he called it Armistice Day. But then it goes on to say in 1954, President Eisenhower decided that the day should honor all of our veterans, not just those from World War I. So who renamed it, who named it again, would be this President Eisenhower, okay, the next president. And all I'm going to do is take my blue marker and I'm going to highlight that President Eisenhower because I know he's the one who changed the name. He renamed it. Now you can use a marker, you can use a crayon, you can use a colored pencil, you can use a highlighter. It doesn't matter to me. And if it goes through where you can barely read it, like you cover it up, that's okay too, kids. I'm not too worried about that. Even if as we go through, if it starts to bleed through the pages, that might be a good reason to use crayon or colored pencil. But if you don't have one, marker's fine. If it bleeds through, you'll just have to work with it as best you can when you get to the next page. So this one's done. Who renamed the holiday? So I go on to the next one. What is a veteran? Well, usually if I'm reading something and it's called Veterans Day, that's going to tell me that that information is going to be right at the beginning, okay? Because I have to know what a veteran is if I'm going to read about veterans. Otherwise, I'm not going to learn anything. And it says right in the first line, a veteran is a person who has served in the military. What is a veteran? It's right there. A veteran is a person who has served in the military. So again, I'm going to take my yellow marker and I'm going to grab it out of my box and I'm going to highlight that whole sentence. We've talked about that before too. You might just want to highlight part of it. I like to highlight all of it if it's a full sentence, but remember, we're not trying to make a rainbow with our worksheet, because if we highlight too much, it doesn't help us at all. So I'm going to get ready and get my red out. And the next question that I come to is, where is Veterans Day celebrated? First, I'm going to check this one off because it's done. Where is Veterans Day celebrated? Well, you have to kind of think about what they're talking about, because once you read the paragraph, that's why it's important to read it first. They're not talking about McDonald's. Like, Veterans Day could be celebrated at McDonald's, but that's not what they're referring to. And it's not at your home, and it's not on the street. They're talking about something bigger. So I have to look through my paragraphs, and I will tell you it's in paragraph 2, and I have to find out which country Veterans Day is celebrated in. Not just a state, but an entire country, because it says right here, Veterans Day is a national holiday. That means entire country in the United States. So I know they don't celebrate this in France. They don't celebrate this in Germany. They don't celebrate it in Japan. This is specific to the United States. So I'm going to take my red marker and I'm just going to highlight that part, United States. Okay. If you wanted to do in the United States, you could too, because when you look at this question, where is Veterans Day celebrated? In the United States. So I'm going to check off my next question because I know I got that one right. And I'm going to look for, why has the name changed? And I have to think about that one again too, because I know it's called Veterans Day now. And I remember reading something about a president who first celebrated the holiday, but he called it something else. So I want to go back through and find that. And I know it's not in paragraph 1. So I'm going to look in paragraph 2 again. Veterans Day is a national holiday in the United States, celebrated each year on November 11th. We celebrate it on that day because World War I ended on November 11, 1918. The next year, President Woodrow Wilson, here it is, this is where I remember seeing it, declared November 11th a holiday to thank the veterans who helped win World War I. He called it Armistice Day. But then it says in 1954, I could have looked where I highlighted blue because I know someone who renamed it, and it says, why did the name change? President Eisenhower decided that it should honor all veterans, not just those from World War I, and changed the name to Veterans Day. So why was the name changed? Well, President Eisenhower decided that the day should honor all of our veterans. Okay, so he changed it because at first it was only celebrating the veterans from World War I, and all the other veterans were kind of left out. So he said, no, I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it a national, well, it already was a national holiday. I'm going to change it to Veterans Day so that it can honor everyone, not just the veterans who fought in World War I. So I'm going to cap my marker back up. I got this one checked off, and I'm going to move on to the next one. So I'm going to back my camera up a little bit so that you can see the next question because it won't fit completely. And this one is green. How was the holiday's date chosen? Well, if I want to skim through here, what I would probably look for is the date, because I know if I see a date, it's going to kind of lead me into that answer. So I'm going to kind of skim through again. I don't see a date. I don't see a date in paragraph 1. I don't see a date. Aha, here in paragraph 2, there's a date. It says November 11th. So I'm going to go back to my question. How was the holiday's date chosen? Well, it says we celebrated on that day because World War I ended on November 11th, 1918. So, how was the date chosen? Because that is the day World War I ended on November 11th, 1918. So, I can check that one off. I can get my green marker and I can highlight that particular piece. And I'm going to find it again because I want to be specific. It says we celebrate it on that day. Why do we celebrate it on that day? Because World War I ended on November 11th, 1918. So the date was chosen because of that. Last question. I already did check it off. So I'm going to grab my orange and get ready. And it says, when did Wilson declare it a holiday? So when I think about this when, it could be a day, it could be a time, it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year. So I want to think about in my paragraphs, in my passage, what referenced time, like what were they talking about? And so I remember dates in there, and that's what we said, how the holiday's date got chosen. But when did he declare it a holiday? So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to probably start with paragraph 2 because that's where I found most of my answers, and I know that would be a good place to start. So I got to remember this though. When did Wilson declare it a holiday? So Veterans Day is a national holiday celebrated in the United States each year on November 11th. We celebrated on that day because World War I ended on November 11, 1918. The next year, President Woodrow Wilson declared November 11th a holiday to thank the veterans who helped us win World War I. Well, that's not super clear to me, but I do have one key phrase that stands out to me. And unless you really look for it or have some practice at this, you might not find it. It says World War I ended November 11th, 1918, but then right here it says the next year. So if I really think about what I'm reading and I make that calculation, I know President Woodrow Wilson declared November 11th a holiday in 1919 because that's 1 year after World War I ended. Like I said, it's a little bit tricky, but you really got to look for key phrases and why authors use the words they use. So I know it was in 1919, and it doesn't tell me, like I can't find 1919 in there. So I'm just going to highlight this the next year in orange. So hopefully this gave you some insight as to how this is done. Again, once you finish it, you just make sure you close it back up and you put it back in your binder right away so that it doesn't get lost, it doesn't get stepped on, it doesn't get anything. And the next day you come to school, if we choose to look at it, we can pull it out, or if I take a quick glance at it, I can see it. And then you're done. So if you finish this, what I want you to do right now is just go to Epic and read to self for about 15 minutes until everyone finishes, and then we'll move on. So thanks for listening, kids. Thanks for listening to the entire thing. I know it's not super exciting, but it is helpful, and hopefully it helps you along the way to become a better reader. Thanks again. Bye.